So if you didn't catch that, my name's Olivia. If I haven't gotten to meet you yet, I have the amazing opportunity. I really am so grateful that I get to help lead this student ministry alongside Pastor Sawyer. And I always got to shout out my 11th grade girls, my small group. So I love you guys. Okay, so we're in week 2 of this series, Devoted. We're studying the book of Ruth, okay? And the title of my message is Devoted to the Daily. Okay, devoted to the daily. And we're going to look at chapter 2 to learn from Ruth about what we need to know about being devoted to the daily. Now, the daily is really important for us as Christians, okay? It's really important because it's what we do in the daily that really makes or breaks us as far as our faith goes, okay? It's really important that when we choose to follow Christ, we realize that we are making a commitment to follow him in the daily things that we do. When Jesus is teaching his disciples how to pray, he says, ask God, give us this day our daily bread. I think that's important because he's saying it's important to focus on today, the day that God has given you, and he's going to give you what you need for today, and that's important. I think a lot of us can get stuck in the past or the future. We're stuck in the past. We're reliving hurt, pain, trauma, whatever it is, or we have such a great moment from the past that like we wish we could get back, or we're stuck in the past. But then sometimes I felt like this as a student. I got so stuck in the future, like, God, what's your will for my life? What's your plan for my life? What's your purpose? Like, what's the calling that you have placed on my life? Like, I want all these things in the future. Like, is that gonna happen for me? I was so stuck there. But what we have to realize is that tomorrow's not promised. Yesterday is gone. All we have is today. God has given us today. And that's why it's important. One of our North Church standards is we will be faithful in the small things. In Luke chapter 16, verse 10, Jesus says, whoever can be trusted with very little can also be trusted with much. And whoever is dishonest with very little will also be dishonest with much. To me, I'm like, oh no, Lord, you can trust me with the really big things. Like I promise I'll do really good once like the big thing comes that like I have to have a lot of faith. Like I'm going to do really good. But then when it comes to reading my Bible every day, I'm like, oh, well, okay, I missed a day. It's okay. It's not that big of a deal. Okay, I'll do tomorrow. And then I miss tomorrow. And then I miss the next day. Or whatever that looks like. These small things matter to God. These daily practices, these daily things that we're experiencing really matter to God. God's saying, if I can't trust you with the daily, I definitely can't trust you with the big thing that I have for you coming. We have to be faithful to the small things. What does that look like? Reading our Bible, when we wake up, when we go to sleep, are we thinking about the things of God? Are we showing love to our neighbor? Are we being kind to people? Are we honoring our parents? When you go to work, are you working hard and being kind? When you go to school, are you studying? Are you doing what you need to do to do it well? Are you doing those things in your daily life? Are you devoted to the daily? I want to tell you a story. I have a picture of me and my sisters. That is huge. Okay, this is me and my sisters, okay? I was probably about 10 here. Abby was probably about 8. Lily was about 2 or 3, okay? So this story is about this time in our life, okay? So when Lily was little, when she was about this age, if you put her down, she was going to run. If you put her down, she was going to run away from you. She was going to literally go as far as she could. And the thing was, she was fast. You barely could catch her. I mean, she was 2 and we were struggling to keep her with us, okay? And so this was always a thing. Like if we went out places, like somebody would have to hold her, or like if we're going shopping, you got to put her in the cart, okay? And so this specific time, I don't even know if you guys know, does anybody know what Babies R Us is? Okay, more of you. Okay, I was thinking, I feel like this is making me old because I don't even know if you guys would know what Babies R Us is. If you don't, it's like basically a big mega store for like all things babies. If you've heard of Toys R Us, it's like that, but the baby version. Okay, so we were in Babies R Us, okay, with my mom, me, Abby, and Lily, and we're shopping. Lily's in the cart, of course, because she's gonna run away, right? Well, so me and Abby, we like get it in our heads that, oh my gosh, okay, we wanna play with Lily. Like Lily was begging to get down because there were so many cool things. She wanted to see everything. And me and Abby are like, we're such good big sisters. Like, just let her down. Like, we can do it together. Like, we can watch her. Like, she's not going to run away. So we're begging our mom, please, just let her down. Seriously, look, she wants to. We'll watch her. See, both of us, we'll watch her. It'll be okay. She won't, we'll catch her if she runs away. Like, she won't run away though, because like, we're going to watch her. We're going to watch her. And my mom's like, guys, no, I'm not letting you like, she's going to run away. And we're like, no, please. So we just keep bugging her to the point where she's like, okay, fine. But listen, seriously, do not look away from her because she will run away. And we're like, yeah, Mom, we know, we get it. Like, we understand she's going to run away. Like, it's both of us. We're going to be fine. Okay, so she lets Lily down. We're doing pretty good, we're walking around. All of a sudden, there's this play couch that's on one of the shelves, okay? And it's on a shelf where we can get to it, but it's underneath, so you have to pull it out to get on it. And Lily's like, wants to get on the play couch. And so me and Abby are like, of course, your wishes are commands. Like, we'll get you this play couch. So we turn, we're like inside the shelf. We're like pulling the couch out. We pull it out. We turn, we're like, okay, look. It wasn't even like you saw her running away. She was not in sight. She was gone, like literally in a second. Like, we literally turned, pulled the couch out, and we look, and literally she's nowhere. And there's automatic doors at the front of the store. So we immediately, Mom, Lily's gone. We don't know where she is. We're trying to, Mom. So literally all three of us split up, and we're running around the store trying to find her. Okay? Because she's just run off. And thankfully we did find her, and she was so scared because eventually she realized, wait a second, I don't know where my family is. So we did find her, so it was okay. But we were trying to convince my mom so bad, we can do this small thing, we've got it. And it literally took 1 second of us getting distracted, and Lily was gone. How many times are we telling God, I can do this. God, I please just give me the big thing. Let me preach on the stage. Let me go do all these big things. Let me get famous. Let me get all this money. Let me do all these things. And God's like, but literally when I ask you to spend 5 minutes in my word, you won't even do it. We're trying so hard to convince. And sometimes he tests us. He gives us an opportunity. And how many times do we just like flat out just fail? Because we can't even do these small things. We're going to look at Ruth, okay, to learn from her about what it looks like to be devoted to the daily. Okay, so to recap, last week we did Ruth chapter 1. We meet Naomi and Ruth, okay? Their husbands have died. Naomi's from Israel. Ruth is from Moab, okay? And so Naomi's like, I'm going to go back to Israel. You stay here. And Ruth's like, no, I'm coming with you. Even though it's the hard path, even though I'm a foreigner in Israel, I'm going to go with you because I want to help take care of you. And Lord, deal with me if I ever get separated from her. So she makes an oath and she says, God, deal with me. And she takes God as her God, who's Naomi's God. Okay. And so they go back to Israel together. Okay. And they're alone. Then we start in Ruth chapter 2. Okay. Ruth 2, we see Ruth, she goes to Naomi and she's like, okay, I'm going to go glean in the fields because it was time for the harvest, okay? And what gleaning means is that it was the poor, the widows, the foreigners, the people that were kind of the lowly, the outcast. They would be able to go into these fields and glean the leftovers because in the law, God told the farmers to leave their grain on the edges, on the outskirts, leave some for those people to provide for themselves. So it was God's way of taking care of all of the people that lived in the land, okay? He was providing a way for the people that really couldn't provide for themselves, okay? And so Ruth is gonna go humble herself and go, when nobody knows who she is, she's a widow. As a woman, you couldn't really do anything without a husband or a man to take care of you. So they're two women alone, and Ruth goes and she's gonna go glean, and she picks a field and she goes into it. Well, it just so happens that she's in the field of Boaz, who ends up being one of their relatives and could be their guardian redeemer. And so basically for a widow, when your husband died, if you had a relative, an extended cousin or a cousin, or I don't know how close they got, but whoever it was, you could ask them to redeem your family, and they would marry you, they would provide you children, so that way your legacy could live on and you could be taken care of. And so that's what the guardian redeemer is, okay? And so that's why it's so important that Ruth ends up in Boaz's field, because now it's like, oh, we have a connection to somebody that could redeem us, redeem Naomi and Ruth, both of them. Okay, and so we see that Ruth goes, Boaz is like, who is this person? Like, who is this new girl that's here? Like, what is she doing? And he finds out everything that she's done, how she's committed to Naomi, how she's working hard, and he ends up taking her under his wing and blessing her. He's super generous with her, okay? He takes her in, he gives her food, he lets her get the better stuff than just the extra. He does all these things because he's trying to honor her for what she is doing, okay? And so that's what we kind of see in Ruth chapter 2, a quick overview, okay? So what I want to start with, we're going to see what it looks like being devoted to the daily and go through this story and see what happens as we do that, okay? And so the first thing that we need to make the choice of is our daily obedience, okay? So that's the first thing, and it'll be up here, okay? Daily obedience. When we choose Jesus as our Savior, we have to make the choice to have daily obedience with Him. That's where it starts, okay? Then, from daily obedience, we see protection. When we obey daily, we then are put under God's protection, okay? Ruth, she was brought under Boaz's protection to glean with the female workers. We see Ruth chapter 2, verses 8 and 9. It says, so Boaz said to Ruth, my daughter, listen to me. Don't go and glean in another field, and don't go away from here. Stay here with the women who work for me. Watch the field where the men are harvesting and follow along after the women. I have told the men not to lay a hand on you. So what's happening? Ruth was devoted to the daily work. She was working hard. She was doing the things that were really hard, were not the easy choice. She was committed to the daily. And what happens when she does that? She's brought under Boaz's protection. Okay? That's what happens to us. When we're obeying God daily, we are brought under Him. He protects us. Now, sometimes that protection looks like very tangible in our lives. Like maybe you got in a wreck, but you didn't get injured, but your car was totaled. Or maybe you got an injury while you were playing sports or something, and the doctor's like, I don't know how you made it without completely breaking your arm. There's things in our life that sometimes we can see, wow, I see the Lord's protection in my life, like really clearly. But I also want to point out that sometimes we do have to experience the things of this world, the things that are hard, things that hurt us, that cause pain, but we have a hope in an ultimate protection that God has covered us by His blood, and that we're going to be in eternity with Him forever, so that no matter what happens to us in this life, we are under His refuge. We are under His protection, His saving grace, what Jesus did on the cross. We have the ultimate protection. So daily obedience, protection, and then we get to experience generosity. When we're brought under God's protection, we then get to experience His generosity to us. So we see Ruth. Boaz is talking to her, and he allows her to come in and have a meal with the workers, which the people who were gleaning didn't get to do. He invites her in to have a meal, allows her to take from the actual harvest, not just the extras, and then tells his workers to drop some extra of the good stuff for her to take. Okay, Ruth chapter 2, verse 14. At mealtime, Boaz said to her, come over here, have some bread, and dip it in the wine vinegar. When she sat down with the harvesters, he offered her some roasted grain. There he is, being generous, giving her the meal. Then in verse 15, as she got up to glean, Boaz gave orders to his men, let her gather among the sheaves and don't reprimand her. Even pull out some stalks for her from the bundles and leave them for her to pick up, and don't rebuke her. Boaz was being generous with Ruth. She was under his protection, and then she was experiencing his generosity. We get to experience that when we obey him daily. When we're under his protection, we are not having to deal with the pain and death that sin causes because we're under his protection. We get to experience grace. Grace is getting what you do not deserve. And here's the truth. You don't deserve anything. You don't deserve anything. That is really hard to believe. I don't deserve anything. But by God's grace, he allows me to experience this love, this unthinkable love, this unconditional love, this joy, this peace, these things that we can't even describe sometimes, that the world does not understand. He is so overly generous with us. So generosity. From generosity to satisfaction. Ruth chapter 2, the end of verse 14 says, this is when they're having the meal. She ate all she wanted and had some left over. It doesn't say Boaz gave her a bite, It doesn't say like she portioned out a small bit just so she was polite. No, she ate all she wanted. All she wanted. She was completely satisfied. She even had leftover. She was satisfied. When we choose to obey God daily, we realize that we can be fully satisfied in him. Not fame, not money, not what people think of us, not the platform, not the talents, not all of those things are not going to fulfill us. It will feel good for a moment because sin and pride feels good in our flesh for a moment. But the lasting fulfillment comes from a daily surrendering, a daily obedience to Christ. There is contentment and satisfaction of God. I don't need anything else but you. I'm good. I don't need anything else. Something changes in your life when you feel that for real. Something changes how you see the world because you realize none of this matters. All I need is you, and that's all I'm going to have in eternity. And I'm going to be satisfied in that. Ruth was satisfied. Satisfaction to surplus. At the end of that verse, it says, she ate all she wanted and she had some left over. Ruth had food left over from her meal. If you don't know what surplus is, it's basically anything extra over what you need. So what your needs are, anything extra of that is the surplus, okay? So when we get to that realization that, oh my gosh, I'm so satisfied in Christ, we then open our eyes to see the abundance of God's blessing, that there's even so much more he has given me. There's a surplus. I'm satisfied and there's more. He loves us so much. He gives us all we need and gives us more. But here's the thing. What do we do with the surplus? What does Ruth do with her leftovers? Ruth 2:18, she carried it back to town, and her mother-in-law saw how much she had gathered. Ruth also brought out and gave her what she had left over after she had eaten enough. This is the Great Commission. This is the gospel. This is how we be the hands and feet of Jesus. We daily obey to him. We're put under his protection. He gives us the generosity. We realize we're satisfied. Then we realize there's more to give. And so we go out, we be the hands and feet in Jesus, and we love people and give to people. And it doesn't make sense to anybody else. But when we realize that we have the surplus, we can go do something with it and actually love people the way that Jesus loved, not the way we think makes us a good person. We can actually love from an overflowing cup. We can truly serve others the way Jesus intended. When we look at this, how many of us are trying to have all of the rest of the things without the first thing? How many of us are trying to believe in God's protection for us, but we don't want to obey him to not do that little sin that he's been telling us not to do? How many of us want to experience the generosity that he has to give us, but we're not willing to give up the things that are distracting us from seeing it? How many of us want to be satisfied, want to have extra to give, and want to love other people well, but we're doing it so much in our own strength that we're burnt out, we're tired, we're exhausted, and we don't even see where God is in it. We don't want to obey, but I don't think you can experience any of that unless you start with the top. Daily obedience. Daily obedience. Why is it so hard for us to do that? Paul talks about this in Romans, okay? You know, the verse, it's like, I do what I don't want to do, and I don't do what I want to do. There's this thing inside of me that wants to do what God's telling me to do, but like, I can't do it. I keep doing the opposite. I keep doing the thing I don't want to do. And how many of us were trying to live for the Lord in our own strength, by ourselves? We're trying to do it, muster up enough energy, and then we don't feel the presence of God, and we feel like we don't know him, and then we're frustrated at God because we're like, I'm doing all the things like I think I need to be doing, but where are you? Like, I don't feel you. I'm really trying, but you know, I keep doing the things I don't want to do, but like I'm trying, so like, where are you when I'm trying? You know? But there's a hope. Paul says in Romans 8:11-14, the Spirit of God who raised Jesus from the dead lives in you. And just as God raised Christ Jesus from the dead, he will give life to your mortal bodies by this same Spirit living within you. Therefore, dear brothers and sisters, you have no obligation to do what your sinful nature urges you to do. For if you live by its dictates, you will die. But if through the power of the Spirit you put to death the deeds of your sinful nature, you will live. For all who are led by the Spirit of God are children of God. We cannot do the daily in our own strength. We need the power of the Holy Spirit to even do the small things. That is humbling to realize I can't even read my Bible every day without you. Something so simple. You can't do it because of our choice to choose against God, humanity's choice. We live in a sinful world, and right now we are constantly pulled by this sinful nature that is pulling us away from God. But the thing is, when we choose to accept Christ, now we have another power living inside of us. Like Paul says, a new master living inside of us. Here's the thing, you're gonna have a master either way, whether you like it or not. Are you gonna let it be sin and death? Or are you gonna let it be the power of Jesus living inside of you that raised from the dead? You get to make the choice. And if you don't choose, you're living in delusion, because that's just the truth of what this life is. So what are you going to choose? Thinking back about the story with Lily, me and my sister, we thought we could do it by ourselves, but our mom knew we couldn't. We should have trusted our mom in what she was telling us, but we didn't because we thought we could do it on our own. And here's the thing, just like my mom allowed us to have the opportunity to try, in God's mercy, he allows us to choose him or not. So that way we know when we're making a choice, we're not forced into it. We are getting to choose. That's his mercy to us. That he loves us no matter what, and he allows us to choose him. But he knows us better than we know ourselves. And so instead of letting us be on our own and try in our own strength, he's given us an advocate, the Holy Spirit. He's given us Jesus to be able to commune with him. It starts with the choice of daily obedience. And this, I think, is like the excited part. Ruth 2, it's not going to be on the screen, so listen in. Ruth chapter 2, verse 3. So she went out, entered a field, and began to glean behind the harvesters. Okay, she didn't know where she was going. All she knew was that she was devoted to the daily work. And then what does it say? As it turned out, she was working in a field belonging to Boaz, who was from the clan of Elimelech. All she knew was that she was devoted to the daily, and not by coincidence, she ended up in her guardian redeemer's field. When you devote yourself to the daily, it's not a mistake. You end up in the presence of Jesus. When you make those decisions to, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do these daily, these small things, we think so many times that we feel the presence of God when we're worshiping and we cry. Or I'm going to feel the presence of God and the love of God when I evangelize to 100 people and they all give their life to Christ. I'm going to feel the presence of God when I get that opportunity to preach and to tell the word that God has given me. I'm going to feel the presence of God when I do this amazing thing and everybody's telling me how good I am. No, you feel the presence of God. You're put into his field when you are devoted to the daily work. It doesn't take all of the amazing things to be in his presence. How many of us are trying to do our daily life and we're wondering, God, where are you? It's because we're not actually committed to obeying him in the small things. We want to do big things and we feel like God's in the big things, but God is in the little things just as fully as he is in those big things. You can experience the full presence of God in your daily walk with him. The full presence of him. I want our leaders to go ahead and come up. We're going to go into a time of response. And if everybody will just stand up.